We're going to introduce the concept today of parallel lines. And parallel lines are always the same distance apart. You've probably been taught that they never will intersect. They'll always be straight, kind of like railroad tracks. And in this example, we have two lines. We have line A and we have line B. And we will say that line A is parallel to line B. And if that's the case, this line that cuts across is called a transversal, and I'm going to go ahead and spell the word out. It's called a transversal, and sometimes it's given the line, sometimes they call it line T. Could really call it anything you want. And you'll notice that when a line cuts across two other parallel lines, you will create 8 different angles. We got angle 1 here, we got angle 2, 3, and 4, and we got 5 and 6, 7, and 8. You can see some of these are vertical angles. For example, 1 and 4 are vertical, so are 5 and 8 because they're directly across. We learned that in the introduction to angles. And 6 and 7 and 2 and 3 are also vertical. On top of that, we have 2 different types of angles. We have interior and exterior. Interior are in between the 2 parallel lines. So there are 4 interior angles, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. And there are 4 exterior angles. They're on the outside or the exterior of the parallel lines, 1 and 2, and 7 and 8. Those are exterior angles. Now we have 4 big ideas when we have parallel lines, and the first one is this. The first one is same side interior angles are supplementary. Now, in the last lesson, we learned that supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. Same side interior angles are angles like this one, 3 and 5. Those are on the same side of the transversal and they're on the inside of the drawing. There's one other pair of same side interior angles, 4 and 6. And if I added the number of degrees in 4 plus the number of degrees in 6, it should add up to 180 degrees. Because same side interior angles are supplementary. The rest of the angle relationships we're going to look at are congruent. And the first one that we're going to look at are called corresponding angles. Now, corresponding angles are in the exact same place. For example, 6 is above line B, and it's to the right of the transversal. So if I look here, which angle is above line A to the right of the transversal in the same place as 6, that would be angle 2. So angle 6 and angle 2 are corresponding angles. And there's 4 different pairs. For example, look at 4. It's on the lower half, but it's to the right. What's on the lower half to the right? It's angle 8. Angle 4 and angle 8. There are 2 other pairs of corresponding angles, angle 1 and angle 5, they're in the same place, and so are 3 and 7. And one big idea, corresponding angles are congruent, they're equal. That symbol is an equal sign with a squiggly above it. That means congruent. It means equal. So we have 2 ideas so far. Same side interior angles are supplementary, corresponding angles are congruent. Let's take a look at another angle type. Alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are also congruent. They're the same. Alternate means on different sides. Interior, there means they're one of these, but they're on different sides of the transversal. What's on different side of the transversal from 3? That's going to be congruent. And it's this big obtuse angle here, and that's this one here. And you can see that 3 is on the left and 6 is on the right. There's only 2 pair of these. Angle 3 and angle 6 make 1 pair of alternate interior angles. And the other pair, 4 and 5. And you can kind of see that if I draw a line, sometimes we draw it looks like a Z. Angle 4 is there, and if I were to continue with angle 5, you can see that they're on different sides of the transversal. And they're on the inside, they're congruent, angle 4 and angle 5. The last angle relationship we have is alternate exterior angles. And kind of like the interior angles, but they're on the outside. Alternate exterior angles are also congruent. Exterior to angle 1, I'll leave the circles here. Angle 1 on the left is on the outside, and angle 8 is on the right side. They're alternate exterior angles, so angle 1 and angle 8, and the other pair would be angle 2 and angle 7. So those are the 4 big relationships for 2 parallel lines being cut by a transversal. You've got same side interior angles are supplementary. That means they make 180 degrees. We've got corresponding angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, and alternate exterior angles are congruent. Okay, we're going to go through an exercise here where we try and identify some relationships and then we find some angles. Let's take a look here at number 1. We have our transversal is right here, and if I draw a line on the transversal, you'll see that X and 145 are both interior angles, and they're both on the same side of the transversal. So if this is X and this is 145, that adds up to 180. So if I want to find X, I'm going to have to subtract 180 and 145. And X is going to come out to be 35 degrees. Now let's take a look here. You'll see that we have 2 other interior angles, but one's on the left and one's on the right. These are alternate interior angles, and if you remember from the last page, alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this is 50 degrees, this one here is also 50 degrees. Here's another pair of, just like in the first example, they're both on the same side, X and 89. So X plus 89 adds up to 180 degrees. So if I take away 89, and you can use your calculator if you wish, X is going to be 91 degrees because those 2 angles have to be supplementary. Here's another relationship that we have. This is on the right side on the bottom part, and this question mark is also on the right side on the bottom part. Those are corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are congruent. So that question mark is equal to 64 degrees because they are the same. And here's another pair of corresponding angles. This is the lower right, this is the lower right, that's 112. The question mark also has to equal 112 degrees. Okay, last problem in the video, and we are only given one angle here, 112 degrees, but we're given that this is parallel to this line right here, and we're going to actually find all of them, not just this question mark. There are 4 angles in here right now that are all equal to 112. This angle here is 112, and this angle here, this is vertical. This one and this one are alternate interior, so this is 112. These 2 are corresponding, so they are congruent. And this one is vertical to this guy up here, so this is 112 degrees. So if you have 2 parallel lines cut by a transversal, 4 of the angles will be the same, and the other 4 angles are also all the same. We just got to find out what they are. And you'll know too that if it's a straight line, they make 180 degrees, or if they're both same side interior angles like this one and this one, they'll be 180 degrees. So if I go 180 and I want to subtract 112 from that, and I get 68 degrees. All the other angles on this drawing are 68 degrees. So this one here is 68 degrees, this one's 68, that's 68, and that one up there is 68. When you have 2 parallel lines cut by a transversal, there's only going to be 8 angles. 4 of them will be the same. We have 4 of them that were 112, and then we had 4 of them that were 68 degrees.